All right, everybody. So we got our wood stove and everything that we need for our wood stove, hopefully, as far as the installation goes. So really excited to get started here. It's gonna be a neat journey because we've never put a wood stove in, and the only wood stove experience I got is my grandfather had a wood stove in his house, and he would chooch it up because my grandmother dictated that the house had to be like Florida weather in the winter. So while everybody else is dressing for cold weather, she'd be sitting in her house in shorts and a tank top, and everybody else is dying because we all wore winter clothes. So I know they work, and I know they work really well. And we got a nice potbelly stove that is not just a wood burner, it's a coal burner as well, which is something that we just really started looking into in burning coal, just because of it being a feature of the wood stove. Come to find out that that's actually would be a really good source of energy for us, as long as we can continue to get coal, and then of course, you know, it'll burn wood when that's done. So yeah, so we're really excited. We're gonna start moving this stuff, and we'll check in with you guys in a little bit. All right, so I already got my kind of pilot hole drilled through the cabin roof. I stopped because I wanted to drill down through the top of the roof. I don't know why. It just seemed like the smarter thing to do, which really doesn't matter because it's all getting torn out anyway, now that I think about it. So, but I'm putting my gasket up here to check and see how much I got going around the actual hole itself. So we're looking pretty good, I say, and it's nice because it is rubberized, so if I'm not 100% perfect, I don't think it's gonna be the end of the world, because this gasket is so much bigger than the 6-inch triple wall that we got coming up through here anyway. So it'll have some flex to it, and I'll be able to keep things nice and neat there. So
you have to put the sealant down first, don't you?
oh, I have to cut all this.
The guy said you had to put the sealant and then screw them in.
GoPro, stop recording. All right, guys, so we're leaving Tractor Supply now, and funny thing about that was last night ran into a whole bunch of problems trying to put the wood heater in, or the wood stove in. So because of that, we were like, okay, we're gonna run to Tractor Supply, we're gonna get some supplies that we need for the heater anyway, and we'll pick up a little propane heater, another Mr. Buddy heater, because we weren't gonna have any heat for the night, and it was gonna get really cold. So long story short, we bought a third Mr. Buddy heater, and this one lasted a few hours and then stopped. So we're done with Mr. Buddy. Like, that is ridiculous to have 3 heaters in less than a month. They all have the same problem of running for a little bit and then turning off, and then not wanting to reignite for a couple hours, and then they'll run for a little bit and turn off. And
we were watching video after video trying to figure out like how to fix it, and taking it apart and cleaning it out and doing all this stuff, and it did nothing. It just still behaved the same.
Yeah, it's truly frustrating, because these things are supposed to be rugged. I know they get taken ice fishing, and they get out and they go hunting, and people use them in their tents, and I don't know what our deal is, because all of our accessories are Mr. Buddy accessories. We don't or Mr. Heater accessories. We're not trying to crisscross brands here or anything. The hoses are Mr. Heater. The propane fuel filter is Mr. Heater. I mean, the only thing that's not Mr. Heater is the 25-gallon tank. And it's truly been frustrating, and especially with the nights getting as cold as they have been, it's just ridiculous. We're done. It's over. Luckily, we have everything that we need for our stove, and our stove is going to go in today.
Yeah, we have a hole in our roof right now.
Yeah, we already started the process of putting the stove in yesterday, and just ran out of daylight. I mean, that was the problem. We just ran out of daylight. You know, it starts getting dark around 5. So we didn't get home back from KC until 1300-ish, and then we had to run around and get the stove, get the pipe, and everything like that. And then my tools were a mess because of everything.
No,
and
come on. Be honest.
I am being honest.
Because you don't put them back.
Yeah.
You keep them
well,
separate.
there's also nowhere to put them, so they get placed in spots all over the place because I don't have a central area to keep my tools. So they're either in the tent, or they're under the tarp, or they're in the house.
We need a shed.
We do, or they're in the truck, and you know. So we got. I mean, yesterday was just a disaster for trying to rush a wood heater in. And
it wasn't a disaster, but...
Well, yeah, but it didn't go exactly the way I hoped it would.
It'll get put in today, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, that's our update on the heater right now. And just life in general. So, stay tuned, because stuff's gonna get interesting with Amateur Wood Hour.
Amateur Wood Hour.
So, we'll see you later. Alright everyone, we're finally back home. So, we picked up a truckload of wood. So, this is one rank. So yeah, we're gonna be able to heat the cabin. And then we got 2 more ranks coming tomorrow. We're gonna get those delivered since all of our wood is not seasoned. And we're gonna try to figure out how to get some coal. And this will buy us some time, hopefully, to be able to figure out how to get coal out here.
By the bulk.
Yeah, by
by the
bulk
ton.
coal. So, because that would be really nice to be running coal.
Where do you want to start
And
stacking it?
not just wood. So we are rolling. So I got the hole in the roof. That's about as well. I got a hole in the roof. It's not even completely done. So I got to get back up there, finish cutting off some pieces of the roof so that way I can put the support on and then start running the pipe. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm up here on the roof, and you can see the hole that I started to cut yesterday, and then the roof that I started to cut away, before I realized that it'll probably be a lot easier for me if I get these screws out and then be able to lift up the sheet metal to be able to cut it out easier. And then that's what started a whole ring around the rosy, and me eventually figuring out that I already had the right tools all along. I just didn't know what they were for. And it's a little embarrassing to say, but you know, that's one of the things that you do. You'll learn while you're doing this. You're gonna learn while you're doing this. And sometimes they're costly mistakes, sometimes they're not. Last night it was somewhat of a costly mistake, but at the same time, I don't think that even if I hadn't made that mistake, I still would have made it all in time to beat the sun. Plus, we didn't have any way to heat anything to really burn in the stove anyway, so ultimately it didn't matter, and it was inevitable. So it is what it is. But I got everything today, and it's almost 11:30, so it's time to get cracking now that the sun's come up and warmed it up to nice sweltering. I think it was 38 degrees when we were in the truck. I'm not 100% on that, but I know I think it's right around 40 degrees right now, so it's only going to get warmer and make it more comfortable to work. So let's get cracking, huh? So I got my 1/4 inch little DeWalt driver here, which is what I need for my roofing screws, and it pretty much comes in all the DeWalt quick bit sets, so it'll just click right into your impact gun that has the 3/8 drive, or what is it? Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch drive or something, but it just clicks right in there, and that's all you need. So instead of hunting down sockets and stuff that I didn't need, I could have just used this that I already had. So, and boom, screw. Okay, so I got my hole traced out up there, or at least the width of my pipe. So now I'm going to take the Sawzall up and start cutting away and try to keep it as minimal as possible. I only need a little bit of a gap around the stovepipe, and then I have the mounting brackets up top to be able to mount to hold it for the roof kit. So it's time to start cutting. For me to do in here at the moment is nothing, because the camera fell over. That's fantastic. Oh man. So I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not. I don't know when that fell, but we just cut the hole in the roof, and so now I'm going to take my pipe up and see if it fits through. As I'm sure I look all sorts of wonderful. Oh man. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. I'll tell you that for free. Let's see. Oh yeah. Nice. Really nice. All right. Great. Now we're back to the roof. Okay, so you can see the hole we got cut through, which is looking pretty good from what I can see. Alright, so I just lifted up the roof here, and now I gotta probably be easier to come in. Just like that. Rotate. So now that least it's underneath, and I can work at lifting it up, putting in the screws, and then putting it back down. So we are looking all right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up one side, and then I'm gonna tack one screw in, and that should allow me to adjust the other side, and then have one on each side, so that way I can secure the all 6 of them. Okay, so I went and removed the rest of the screws that were holding down that panel, because they got nicked pretty decently by a little splinter that isn't cut, or that's just dangling off the square that I cut out. So it was way too tight to be able to pry it up and fit the screw gun in and then tack it. So now I got the whole panel loose, which definitely gives me enough room to be able to work with the gun underneath. All right, so the bracket, the brace is all secured now. You got all 6 screws going in. So we're ready to start getting the gasket ready, putting all the roofing screws back in, tack it down, and that's it. And we'll be done up here once we get the big piece of pipe on it and everything. So that's great news for me. I'm almost done with this. Because I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but it's really slick up here. And I have a pair of boots, the pair of boots that I'm wearing right now. That's the only boots, or the only shoes that I got that are not like ice skates on this stuff. So, but that's good for us, eh? So, All right. All right, so while I was up messing around on the roof, which I don't even think you could see from here, you might. There we go. I was messing around on the roof, putting in that piece of chimney. The girls stacked our shipment of wood that we picked up. So Mama Bear and the 2 cubs got it all stacked up nice, ready for our stove to start burning as soon as we're done with all this. So, all right, update complete.
What do we gotta do now?
Okay, so we got another update on the wood stove situation. Unreal. So,
how many trips to the store does it take to install a wood stove? Asking for a friend.
Right? Man, it is unreal. So, man, I don't even know where to start with this shit. It's just been unbelievable between my own disorganization and just not really thinking things through, I would say. It's just been chaotic. So, pro tip for everybody else: when you get a wood stove, before you get home with it or whatever, read the owner's manual for the wood stove. You would think, no duh, right? Or whatever, because I was thinking I can just ask people and, hey, what do I need? What do I do? People who have experience doing this stuff, and while they can get you there 85% of the way, you're still going to be struggling because that other 15%. Now, if you live right next to everything, then, so what? You can spend your 5-minute trip. But for us, it takes about 15 minutes to get off of our dirt road to hit the main road, and then we got travel time on top of that. So,
and it gets dark at like 5:30, so.
Right. So on top of having a crunch time to work on everything, we have long travel times everywhere as well. So that is my pro tip. Read your owner's manual, get everything ahead of time, and
we would have done that if we weren't relying on heaters that keep breaking.
That is the problem.
Yes. We are rushing because we keep having to freeze because our heaters are unreliable. So we're rushing, and yeah, it's causing problems.
Right. So if you're installing your wood stove, make sure that you have ample time to do it properly without rushing, and save yourselves a lot of headache. So we got a kerosene heater as a backup for what, in case we get home and start final assembly and everything and something goes wrong. We're not going to be, for a lack of a better term, up shit's creek without a paddle. So yeah, so we are on our way. We're gonna stop and pick up some pizza because luckily our drive time is so long that we can order the pizza ahead of time, have it ready by the time we get there, and then not miss a beat really on our drive home. So
tackling fuel.
Yeah, need busting our ass fuel, that's for sure. So yeah, so this will splice right in nice with everything else, and you'll be able to see the real world. No BS on how stuff goes.
The cabin is a wreck.
Yeah. Yeah, the cabin's a mess. There's sawdust and wood pieces and
Little pieces of metal and
everything else that you can imagine all over the place. Our clothes from when we ran out of the cabin this morning because we were freezing, you know, so. But, all right, so we'll catch you guys later. Okay, so we got our black furnace cement and we're putting our layer right around the top of our stove, and trying to make it even because our stovepipe is going to come down on top of this and squish it, and it's a really tight fit. We already tested it, so hopefully this stuff will work. This only has to set for about an hour before heating up, so I think that
it's a little thin, like right there.
It doesn't. So it's not the prettiest cock job, but that'll work. It's good enough for government work. My favorite saying.
Here's our piece.
So now. I don't know where my still gloves went.
It's pretty dark.
I like the still gloves for doing stuff with sharp stuff because they're a lot thicker. But, I mean, really, any glove's better than no glove at all. So, hopefully, we can...
It was hard to get on.
Yeah, it was. But we knew it was going to... Huh.
It just kind of squished it up.
Yep. We're only looking for a small bit to seal. And what it's going to do is that it might have pushed it down, but it's going to seal all the way down around there and
Should we clean it up a little bit?
Create a nice fit, tight fit. So, yeah.
We have that.
Yeah, we should. All right. So, yeah,
So
that's
it's like
good.
a glue?
So that's the first piece of stovepipe on. Now we only got to finish it. There's not that whole much more to go, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that.
It's actually
I
going
think
good
we're
now.
actually going to have stovepipe to take back,
Yeah.
which will be nice. So, because I think this will be too much. The ladder's still outside, but yeah, that's big. That's not gonna fit. So we got smaller stovepipe that we'll use, and yeah. So we'll check in with you later. Thanks. All right. So after fighting with stovepipe and fighting with stovepipe and some more fighting with stovepipe, we have fought our last fight with stovepipe. It goes up to the triple wall.
It's double wall, I think, isn't it?
It's triple wall. We got triple wall. So that way our clearances up there are minuscule. So it's finally done. It feels good to not have to mess with this stuff anymore. And I made a cutting mistake on a very nice long piece, which we should have only had to use 2 pieces of the really long stuff. But yeah, if you have a Sawzall with metal cutting bits, don't waste your time with tin snips trying to cut stovepipe. It's not worth your time. It's not. And then the other thing would be is to have metal files to file up, clean up the pieces that you do cut, because that'll make it go a lot easier. So, but our potbelly stove is in. We got our pavers down, our stove board. And we have stove board back there. We're gonna get another piece of stove board, I think, to add to the wall protection, even though we don't need to. We're going to anyway. So
well, we're gonna put rock wool down there too.
Well, yeah, but the insulation behind it will put rock wool, but in front of that. So, but yeah, so our stove is finally in. It's in, it's set up, and tomorrow all I have to do is finish the roof. And then we're gonna have to put our triple wall 36-inch piece up there, and that'll go to more than 2 feet above the peak of the roof. And then put the gasket on with some of the caulking that we got for that, and tack it all down, and then it's done. It's a done deal. So all the hard stuff with this is over. So, and we picked up a kerosene heater to run tonight. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I'm pretty sure we did. So thanks for hanging in with us so far, and we'll see you in the morning, well, sometime tomorrow, as we wrap this all up. Okay, so I'm back up here on the roof because I have to remove that, pull up all the screws, so that way I can cut out my 2-inch space, because Jamie was right. All the times that she's corrected me that we have double wall chimney, and I said no, we have triple wall chimney. It's because when I asked for everything, I wanted triple wall. I said triple wall, I kept referring to it as triple wall when we were in the store and everything. And the guy was like, yeah, this is what you need. We got you. This is everything that you need. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, Jamie read the box. Instead of, like me, just trusting that, I got what I asked for, because the shit was still expensive. I mean, it was like triple wall pipe cost, so, I thought everything was triple wall because that's what I asked for. Well, no, it wasn't. It was far from it. It's double wall. So it means that the hole that I cut out and the cuts that I sustained on my hand were all for essentially nothing, because it's the wrong product. So now I have to undo all this and then redo it again, so that way we don't burn our cabin down. So yeah, there's that update. So we didn't actually get our stove fired up last night, which I think we already touched on that, but we went and bought a kerosene heater that, as soon as we started it up and everything, it started smoking like a chimney. It was throwing huge flames, huge. So I had to we had to take that back, because it smoked out the cabin, and we also found that we can't sleep with that. So we had to take it back, and we ended up going to Springfield last night and spending the night in a hotel, because there was stuff we had to return in Springfield anyway, and we weren't going to freeze overnight. So yeah, it sucked, but we got everything that we need to make sure that our cabin doesn't burn down, and we should get this chooching in short time. So stay tuned, I'll keep you updated. Alright, so I tried to go through and back the screws out to be able to lift the plate up, but this screw right here, that just completely stripped out. There's no way to, I'm sure there's ways to get it out, but none that we have. So my new plan was to drill out the area that I need here around it, and then what I'm gonna do is use the Sawzall to cut out the rest. So, because I only needed to drill underneath where the support plate was. So here goes.
Don't cut the support.
Yep.
Nice.
It worked out-ish. So I'll be able to go. I have to go back up onto the roof and remove some more tin, but should be able to get this out roughly easily. Maybe not. Depends on how much it wants to fight, which from the looks of it, it wants to fight. So I'm going to continue to cut out down around the pipe here. Anything to be able to rip that straight down. So, fingers, yeah. Nope. So, I'm gonna have to do a better job. So, but I mean, it's the best we can do. So, we'll keep at it. I'll check in with you later. Thanks. All right, so we got the final piece on. It's not secured or anything, but it's there. That's what it'll look like-ish. Pull that apron down and everything once I get those nuts tightened down, once it's all straight and pretty. So we'll yeah, this will be nice. Especially once this is all done. Alright. So you think it needs to go... Alright, so I got my caulk ready. Now it's time to start putting down a nice, generous bead.
Happy. I need to go home. Just ignore them until I go home.
type of seal that I got puncture. And punching through is not going to do it. And that's too small. All right. Typical. And yeah, so I'm going to need the Phillips head screwdriver. So yeah, there's a seal in here I had to puncture to be able to put this caulk down. So make sure that I'm gonna do everything I can to not fall, sweetheart. All right, so we are now fast forwarding a little bit to underneath. As you see, I got my hole with my clearances and everything. And our stove's sitting here almost ready to go. All we got to do is put our protective layer on so we don't burn down our cabin. So what we did was we picked up a piece of sheet metal because we have stove board, and I got home and the sheet metal is the perfect fit, but too much of the perfect fit, if that makes any sense. It doesn't, it goes halfway to halfway. So it's not really gonna work for what I wanted. I don't know. I thought it would cover the full 2x4 and it didn't. So I called our local hardware store and they had corrugated tin for 10-foot sections. And luckily for us, that was extremely affordable. And Also, lucky for us was we had stuff that we had to return from the stove that we didn't get to use. Or we didn't need to use. It's not that we didn't get to, we didn't need to. So we returned the stuff that we didn't need anymore, which pretty much negated the cost of the corrugated tin. Excuse me, thank you. And so now we have our ceramic bushings, which we are using electric fence bushing. So that way we are going to have our spacer behind the corrugated tin to give us our safety standoff. And yeah, so we're going to be putting that up immediately, and then eventually we're going to have to take it back down when we can afford the insulation and stuff, and then have it properly insulated behind there. And we're just going to do the whole cabin at the same time, since they didn't have exactly what we needed, and we would have to order it in anyway. So yeah, enough of my yapping. Let's get working, and then I'll give you guys an update later. Alright, so I got my sheet metal hooked up. Not fully hooked up, I got one screw in down there. And then we got one tacked up there to hold them together, and this side's tacked in. So I'm trying to figure out, because it looks like there's a wave in it, and it's fighting me. So I gotta figure out how to get that wave out, and I don't know if it's because this piece is too low or not. Because I definitely want to get that wave out so it'll sit, you know, straight. But I don't know. But I think it's gonna look really sharp, because then we have another piece to add up there yet. So yeah, chugging along. All right, so the moment that you've all been waiting for has arrived. We have our stove finally installed. So, pardon the light blinding everyone. As you can see, I have my ceramic spacers. They're more than an inch. They're about 1.25 inches. And the way I did that, let's see if we can get inside there. Yep, goes right across, got a couple spacers. You can see the other ones. What's really nice about that is that I got a little creative, and with some, well, a lot of it was researched by Jamie. She was looking, because I searched high and low last night. High and low, trying to find heat shield, something that we could get so that we're not gonna freeze tonight. You can see the breath is starting to show up. But I exhausted everything trying to find anything that was going to be affordable for us and not require us to tear the stovepipe back out and replace it with more expensive stovepipe. So she was searching for different types of spacers and wall solutions for heat shield, and basically was like, well, there's these ceramic spacers in this spacer kit that we can get. She found it online, and I was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. And then when we were in Lowe's, was it Lowe's when we came up with the idea? Yeah, it was in Lowe's where she found the ceramic spacers, and we went and asked, and they were like, oh yeah, we got ceramic spacers. So we walked back to where they told us to go, and they're talking about tile spacers. I understand it's ceramic tile, but when you blatantly explain what you're looking for, a spacer to create over an inch of distance for a heat shield, and then they send you to tile spacers. I don't know. It was like, what the hell, man? So anyway, we came up with the idea of using the spacers from an electrical fence. And we have Tractor Supply, which we go to almost twice a week, maybe more. Sometimes we just go, and that's because I want to go. Yeah, so we were able to know that we could get these spacers. We called for the actual kit for the heat shield to our Ace Hardware in Mountain Grove, and they said, oh yeah, we got them. So we were like, all right, cool. We're on our way home from Springfield anyway. We're gonna stop at Mountain Grove, pick up the correct spacers for the heat board, or the stove board, and then we got some of these ceramic spacers for the other piece of metal that didn't work out, and we'll be set. And luckily, we got there, and they didn't have it. So then we were like, screw it, doesn't matter. We'll just use the ceramic spacers from the electrical fence. They did have, which was good because the amount of spacers that we ended up needing was 18. And we got 10 from Ace, and then we got the last 10 from Tractor Supply when we went there after we picked up the corrugated tin from my other favorite shop, which is our True Value. Those people are just great. I love them. They're very helpful. So our stove is finished, and now we are going to be getting it all filled up with wood and get it chooching. So stay tuned. Okay, it's it. It's the moment all of us have been waiting for. We are going to light the fire pit.
Cross your fingers, we don't burn.
Right? Here we go. We got some.
We have matchsticks.
We got some. What's it called?
Gel.
Fire gel or whatever. So hopefully it works. That's it. It's the first flame. Hopefully we'll put enough wood in there. Yeah, you can't even really see anything. It's so dark, especially with the light. And that's crazy. So, all right. First flame's going. Thanks. All right, guys, we survived the night, so we're still here. Stove, I think, worked pretty well. Only drawback is they don't, in the instructions, they don't warn you or tell you about the paint that has to cure on the stove. So we fired it up. We didn't build like a rager or anything. You know, we built up a small fire because that's what it said. And then we noticed this like vapory smoke coming off the chimney or off the stove itself, and it was one of the most rancid smells I've ever smelled. It was bad. And it was just like pouring off the stove, freaking us out, and it was just kind of nuts. The house filled up with, got super foggy in here. We were worried. Our smoke detector went off twice, so gave us confidence in that because, yeah, this is our first wood stove install, and if something's gonna go wrong, we want to be alerted and be able to get out of here. So, but all things considered, I mean, like, it worked great. It kept us warm. It didn't get too bad in here last night, or outside, but kept us all pretty comfortable. And we were able to keep it going through the night. And yeah, I mean, it's actually really great. So you can see we got our England's fan on there going, which you might not really be able to tell because of the lighting, but it's going. And it's really neat because it works off of heat induction, and it's got a little, I would imagine, some type of like piezoelectric heat generating sensor, or a sensor that works off of the heat being generated. It creates a small voltage that allows the fan to work. So that's really nice, and it disperses that heat really nicely. And then I'll show you what we got going on in here. So got a couple logs in there, still keeping it pretty small. This is our third fire in it, and then they said build 6 small fires, so I'm sure that's gonna be cut down a little bit, just because it's our source of heat. So it's not like we're gonna build a fire, let it go out, and then we're gonna try to keep it going. But we'll keep them minimal at first. So, but there we go. Our stove's installed and everything's good to go. So we're quite pleased. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next episode.